So I've designed some Mother's Day cards. They were on time when they were published. This video is just kind of a reflection of how it was all made. I usually get some reference photos for pretty much everything I'm working on because I like to try and learn with every project I make. So that's how I get it all going. Usually I'll do like a silly sketch there, and then if I'm moving over to something traditional, I'll do it on this one I think is a watercolor paper, I think. And right now I'm doing them all the same size, 8 by 10, so that I can break them down to be smaller for cards. But the originals can still say like a nice frameable size. So I'm just mapping out the perfect middle of the page and then measuring that 8 by 10 and then putting down some painter's tape, because I find this one at least doesn't rip up the fibers of the paper underneath, as long as you're not like, I find if you leave it for extended periods of time, then the glue will probably like adhere a bit stronger, but just for projects like this, it's really perfect. Now for these crystal inspired Mother's Day cards, I was really just getting into the texture of crystals. I've done a lot of like crystal illustrations where it's like the full shape and the clusters and every that. I think I maybe did one that's a little more zoomed out, one or two, so you can have that kind of feeling, but a lot of it was trying to understand the color and some organic shapes that come out of these minerals. And this one I think is an ocean jasper, which was really fun because jaspers always have like the most dynamic textures. It's really quite cool. I've always appreciated them, and their colors, like I wouldn't think to match some of the oranges with these like teals and whites and browns, and it's just naturally a perfect color palette to work with. And then of course the grape agate. You know, honestly, I feel like this one, I liked the digital sketch a lot more than the practical drawing, but that's the whole reason why I keep just pushing through new stuff and making new designs so that I can figure out what I do like, what I don't like. And yeah, there's this watercolors I use. I would say the brand, don't want to. There's a bit of an irony to my watercolor palette. I adore it. I think it's lovely. It's my first time having a formal watercolor palette with wet media tubes. It's not going well. I filled up the little slots for the pigments, and the first time I did that, they all crumbled and went everywhere, and there's like little bits of reds in my it's a fun time. But somehow I'm in this happy little medium where it's working now, and I'm just leaving it. I'm never gonna refill it. Actually, I probably will. I just have to figure out where I went wrong with that whole process, but maybe one day I'll have that perfect do-it-yourself painter's palette that actually works for watercolors. And this, you know, I'm gonna flash back to this painting though as I continue. I love the colors of fluorite. I think it's so beautiful. They're so rich, and trying for myself to get like very rich colors with watercolors can occasionally be really difficult depending on what I'm working with. Like in the past, I've been able to get potent blues, but I find I get a little lost trying to establish value, and I lose the perspective of pigment. It's just like that color on the palette looks great, but then when I continue on to the painting, I found I just kind of, everything got really muddy in a lot of ways. And again, practice makes perfect, you know? And I've been a little out of touch with watercolors for a good while. Like it used to be my predominant medium, that and acrylic markers, but now it's something on the back burner that I've reached for, like more digital medium with the iPads and stuff, and maybe a sketchbook here and there with like a couple pens. But coming back to traditional work is like, it feels familiar, but at the same time it's not nearly as advanced as perhaps my other skills in sketching. Like I've spent a lot of time painting with acrylic paints, and having taken that time away from the watercolor medium that I used to be completely obsessed with, I look at my works now and I'm like, wow, I wish I could be at the same tier as some of the other mediums I use.
Of course, like, if I put in the time, it would reflect, but I miss it, I think that's what it is. You know, it's a very easy medium to pick up. It's a very fun medium to work with. I recently did a family portrait for my sister-in-law in watercolors, and it was awesome. Like, I swear to you, I had never finished a painting faster. I used to take months for an acrylic painting, just layering and layering and layering. But with the watercolors I used, it was really refreshing because I was able to get exactly what I was looking for with the levels of value and a little bits of pigment, stuff like that. Finished it off with a little line work, and I was like, holy crap, I did that in an hour. You know, the sketch, of course, did not take an hour, but the final end application of color was very streamlined. Like, it was satisfying, you know. And that's been something that I usually don't get typically with painting or like drawing and stuff. There's no that end satisfaction where you go, wow, that was just like a lot of fun. Instead, I go, whew, that was a marathon. Time for the next, you know? Yeah. So yeah, here's where I feel like I'm starting to lose pigment. I'm getting value and the brightness, because fluorite really has, like, if you look at it, the teal in that centerpiece just pops. It's ridiculous. It's as if it glows, you know, although these photos may be backlit on occasion. It's got this transparency in the teal section of it all, and I was really trying to understand value more so than I was trying to emulate that. And I'm not really someone who's been able to practice painting glass and transparent objects very much. I find it incredibly captivating though, and I think it's beautiful. But I've kind of focused more on reflective surfaces, so that's a new avenue for me to pursue, would be transparent surfaces, because I think having a knowledge of that would have really come in handy with this illustration. I don't even know what this one was, to be quite honest with you. I loved it though. It was a Pinterest crystal. Love Pinterest. It always comes through with the best reference photos. I do, you know, something I do. Oh, paint peel. Oh, the paint peels. We love them. Look at it go. Ooh, crisp. Yeah, that's like actually like my favorite part about using the painter's tape. It's never perfect, but I think I've seen some people use a wet white gouache base or something like that, or a fixing base, and then they start their pigments, and that just makes it incredibly crisp. Yeah, so here's the end paintings. I had a lot of fun. I did actually touch in with gouache at the end, just like the little white highlights. And oh, this is me putting it together digitally with the iPad. So like, now that I have these watercolor illustrations, I'm making a card. So I needed like exactly the front cover. I went into the meanings and the spiritual uses for all the crystals, and I kind of like tried to come up with some sort of thing to say about moms on Mother's Day that reflect each of the crystals more specifically. And you know what I loved most about all of these cards is those tiny little doodles at the bottom of the inside of the card. Like, it's a tiny, tiny little sketch. And I'm like, why are these so much better than the paintings? But I just think sketches are my strength, and one day that will transfer over, you know? And there's the end result, these really cute little cards. I think I got them at 4.5 by 3.5. I'm not a huge fan of big cards these days. I want it to be hand friendly, you know, easy, low maintenance, and really cute. So yeah, thank you for watching. Enjoy your summer.